Honorable Members of Parliament, Dr. Wan Rizal and Ms. Yo Wan Ling, other dignitaries from various ministries and departments in Singapore, fellow ambassadors and colleagues from the diplomatic corps, friends of India in Singapore, members of the amazing Indian community in Singapore, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and namaskar. It's an honor and a pleasure for me and my wife, and also my colleagues in the High Commission of India, to warmly welcome all of you in person to this celebration of India's 74th Republic Day. We are grateful to His Excellency Mr. Yong, Honorable Minister for Trade and Industry, for kindly gracing this occasion. We also sincerely thank him and his ministerial colleagues for their proactive roles in strengthening the historic friendship and multifaceted cooperation between India and Singapore. We also thank the two members of Parliament who are here today for honoring us with their presence. Friends, this year, India celebrates the historic milestone of the completion of 75 years as an independent country. For 1.35 billion Indians, it is a moment to reflect on the joys of freedom, the blessings of opportunities, and the progress of a remarkable journey marked by significant achievements. This Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is not just a celebration of 75 years of independence, but also a time to take stock of what needs to be done in the next 25 years, the Amrit Kal, to fulfill our enormous potential and instill new hope and vigor in the people of India to propel them energetically towards this goal. India is now the fifth largest economy in the world, with a GDP touching $3.5 trillion. It is widely expected to continue to be one of the world's fastest growing economies and a prominent engine of global growth over the next decade or two. The rapidly growing domestic consumer market, as well as the large industrial sector, aided by a series of bold policy initiatives, have made India an increasingly attractive investment destination. Our exports are setting new records. The impact of the production-linked incentive schemes is beginning to be visible on the manufacturing sector. The service sector is also moving towards rapid growth, powered by a large youth population. Record investments are being made in physical and digital infrastructure. The digital transformation that is currently underway is expected to accelerate the growth of e-commerce, vastly changing the retail consumer market landscape over the next decade. We now have 70,000 startups, making India the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. As of end 2022, India is home to 107 unicorns with a total valuation of over $300 billion. India's fintech endeavor is truly a solution by the people, of the people, and for the people. India emerged as the pharmacy of the world as it supplied over 235 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to 98 countries under the Vaccine Maitri initiative. Friends, India and Singapore have a deep historical connection and share a strategic partnership. Robust mechanisms for government-to-government engagement, cooperation in a wide range of sectors, and frequent meetings at ministerial and senior official levels have helped consolidate bilateral ties and continue our close cooperation on global and regional issues of common interest. Ministerial visits are again nearing normal levels after the COVID-induced lull for the past 2 years. The first India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable, held in New Delhi in September 2022, identified several promising areas to propel the relationship forward in the coming years. Singapore is one of the guest countries invited to meetings under India's G20 presidency, and we look forward to working together closely on the identified priorities under the overarching theme, One Earth, One Family, One Future. Besides official interactions, initiatives by the private sector are energizing cooperation in various sectors. Singapore is our largest source of FDI in recent years and our topmost trading partner in ASEAN. Over 440 Singapore companies are registered in India, with Singapore investors as per our statistics, accounting for a total FDI of $135 billion in India. And on the other hand, over 8,000 Indian companies are registered in Singapore. India's UPI will soon be linked to Singapore's Pay Now. The exciting startup ecosystems in India and in Singapore are actively engaging with each other. Defense cooperation is also an important facet of the India-Singapore bilateral partnership, with regular institutionalized dialogues, exchange of visits, joint exercises, robust cooperation in the areas of training and logistics, and mutual participation in defense expos. Friends, cultural linkages between India and Singapore span the millennia. The long and unique history of people-to-people connections contributes to the vitality of our bilateral economic and political relationship. We hope to develop these further and engage the younger generation on both sides in the coming years.
Good evening. I am honored to be here today to celebrate India's 74th Republic Day. On behalf of the Singapore government, I would like to extend my heartiest congratulations to the people of India on this occasion. Republic Day is a momentous occasion for India. On this day, India commemorates the enactment of its constitution, establishing the country as a democratic republic and enshrining the values of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity as its founding principles. I'm glad that we are able to resume such receptions this year. It is a wonderful opportunity for us to come together to celebrate the occasion and reflect on the progress made in our bilateral relations. Singapore and India enjoy close historical, cultural, and people-to-people links that have been developed over centuries. Singapore and India collaborate closely in many traditional areas such as defense, trade, and culture. In particular, I'm happy to note that economic cooperation between our countries has grown from strength to strength. Singapore is one of India's largest foreign investors. Singapore companies' investment into India have increased from $1.3 billion in 2005 to $66 billion in 2020, a 50-fold increase over just 15 years. Indian companies also make up the largest foreign corporate contingent in Singapore, spanning diverse clusters from IT and education to logistics and manufacturing. These companies contribute significantly to Singapore's economic performance and growth. Even in the face of COVID-19, the economic ties between India and Singapore have continued to grow. Singapore companies have found good partners from India and have scaled up and diversified their businesses through these partnerships, both within India and beyond. For example, our CapitaLand partnered Indian developer Phoenix Group on business parks in Hyderabad, Telangana. Indian automobile company TVS Motor partnered Singapore agribusiness and supply chain company AgroCorp International to distribute motorcycles in Myanmar. Such partnerships help not just businesses to grow, but also bring our countries closer together. We continue to leverage on these strong foundations and the deep reservoir of strategic trust we share to explore how we can expand collaboration and cooperation in new and forward-looking areas. On that note, I was pleased to be part of the inaugural India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable held in India last September, together with DPM and Minister for Finance Lawrence Wong, Minister for Foreign Affairs Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, and Minister for Transport and Trade Relations Mr. S. Iswaran. We met with India's Minister of Finance Nirmala Sitharaman, Minister of External Affairs S. Jayashankar, and Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal. We had very productive discussions and we agreed to explore cooperation in key emerging areas of importance to both India and Singapore, such as digitalization, energy and green projects, skills development, and food security. I'm confident that we can make good progress by the next meeting of the Roundtable. In fact, the rapid growth of India's digital economy has already facilitated collaboration between our countries on the fintech front. Singapore's Monetary Authority of Singapore and India's International Financial Services Centres Authority exchanged a fintech cooperation agreement in September last year to promote cross-border collaboration in financial services through regulatory sandboxes. This will also extend to information sharing on non-supervisory related information about innovations in financial services in the respective markets. We have also made good progress in linking up Singapore's PayNow and India's unified payment interface, which will enable faster and lower cost fund transfers between our two countries, benefiting both users in Singapore and India. We aim to officially launch this quite soon. We work closely with state governments on vocational education and officially handed over the Northeast Skills Centre in Guwahati to Assam government last July. The World Skills Centre in Bhubaneswar, Odisha also has several Singaporeans from the IT education services attached on a long-term basis. We hope that such skills centres can contribute to helping India in meeting the dynamic needs of its growing economy. Beyond the bilateral relationship, we also work very closely with India through regional forums such as ASEAN. Singapore was honoured to commence our term as country coordinator for ASEAN-India dialogue relations in 2021.